All right, I want you to imagine something for a second. Picture yourself floating in, well, a void, a shared space where reality itself just feels broken, right? And all around you, there are these scattered voices. Each one is an echo from a life that used to make sense, but now, not so much. You've got heroes, warriors, observers, and they're all stuck grappling with this awful, terrifying silence. So let's dive in and try to figure out what's going on with them.
And that really brings us to the absolute core of the problem, this question right here. What happens when your story is over, but you're not? I mean, this is what haunts every single voice in that abyss. Their grand quests? Done. Their life's purpose? Either fulfilled or just impossible now. But they're still here. It's this incredibly weird, disorienting way to exist. And to really get it, we've got to listen to what they have to say.
So first up, let's listen to the Tiger Archer. Now this guy is your classic hero, right? Fought dragons, defeated the big bad evil, the whole 9 yards. But now, when he looks back on it all, he just sees futility. He realizes his epic victory was just this tiny, totally insignificant blip in a much larger, broken system. And that brings up a really chilling question, doesn't it? What's the point of being a hero if the whole game is rigged from the start?
Then you've got the Frog Warrior. His entire life, his whole identity, was built on one single thing, a vow of vengeance. He was going to get back at the mage who killed his friend. Simple. But now he's in this new reality, this weird place where conflict itself just doesn't seem to happen. So his life's purpose? Poof. Gone. He's a warrior with no war to fight, a swordsman with no one to swing at.
And then this voice drifts in, the fantasy knight. Now, his past was all about the chaotic logic of dreams. That was his normal. But for him, this new reality, this isn't a dream. No way. It's a waking nightmare. It's this strange, disconnected, almost virtual existence that feels way more terrifying and makes less sense than any dream he's ever been in.
We also hear from an elf, and her voice is just full of regret. You see, in one single clumsy moment, she tried to curse a demon. A good intention, right? But instead of weakening it, her magic potentiated it? What does that mean? Well, it means she basically supercharged the very evil she was trying to destroy. She accidentally froze time around it and just cranked its power up to 11. And now she's stuck, living with the massive cosmic consequences of one little mistake.
And finally, we have the alien plasma bomb. Now, this isn't a creature like you and me. It's more of an observer, an engineered eye, basically. It doesn't have emotions, it doesn't have biological drives, it just processes this whole messed up reality through pure, cold logic. So for this entity, words, memories, those are the last fragile little bits of data that connect it to anything that even resembles a coherent universe. It's just watching everyone and itself with this total logical detachment.
Okay, so the ghosts of what was, how memory forges an identity. This is key. To really get why they're all so lost now, we've got to look back at who they were, because their pasts aren't just, memories. They're the literal foundation of their identities. And right now, that entire foundation is just crumbling away.
And you can really boil each of their core identities down to one single powerful idea. For the Tiger Archer, it was all about the hero's quest. For the Frog Warrior, that vow of vengeance. The elf is defined by that one fumbled curse. The Fantasy Knight, his whole world was that origin in dreams. And for the alien plasma bomb, it was just the raw instinct for survival. These weren't just parts of their lives, these were their absolute reasons for being.
And the Tiger Archer just nails it with this incredible metaphor. He says the past built them, forged them out of seemingly dead stars, which in a sense can be quite the parallel. Think about that. Their pasts were like these brilliant stars, full of light and energy and purpose. And now, they've collapsed into black holes, just pulling their present selves into this complete void of meaninglessness. All right, Section 2, when reality unravels, the collision of past and present. Okay, so this is where things get really, really interesting. What happens when you take these rock-solid past identities and you slam them into a present that's just fluid and makes no sense? It's that friction, right? That clash between memory and this bizarre new reality. That's where the existential breakdown really kicks into high gear.
And you can see this incredible contrast right here. Let's just break it down. Look at the Tiger Archer. His past was a time of purpose, even if he now thinks it was an illusion. His present? A purposeless rut, a black hole. Then there's the Frog Warrior. His past was a straight line, a clear quest for revenge. His present is this strange, conflict-free trap, and the fantasy knight? He came from a chaotic but, familiar dreamscape. Now, he's in what he calls a dissociated, horrific virtuality. The difference is just staggering. And this brings up such a fascinating question, one that the fantasy knight asks out loud. He wonders if maybe, just maybe, a comforting illusion is actually better than this harsh, meaningless reality. I mean, think about it. Is it better to live a lie that gives you purpose, or to face a truth that's completely empty? That's the debate that's raging inside every single one of them.
Which leads us perfectly into our next section, the war within, the core internal conflict. Because once you strip away all their external purpose, what's left? The only battle they have left to fight is the one happening inside their own heads. Each one of them is staring down a fundamental contradiction, a paradox that's at the very core of who they are.
Let's start with the Frog Warrior's dilemma. On one hand, you have a life that was completely defined by vengeance. That's all he was. On the other hand, you have a world where conflict is literally impossible. So, what is a warrior of vengeance in a world where you can't fight? His whole reason for being is just canceled out by his surroundings. It's like an equation with no solution.
Now, the Tiger Archer's paradox is a little more subtle, but man, it's just as deep. Look at this. He has this history of heroic deeds. He won. He did the thing he was supposed to do. But the flip side is the realization of the futility of those achievements. His success didn't change anything in the grand scheme of things. So now his entire heroic past feels pointless, and it makes him wonder if it ever meant anything at all.
And then there's the elf's burden. Her intention was so pure, she wanted to curse evil. A noble goal, right? But the consequence was the complete opposite. She ended up empowering it, making it stronger. So her identity is now completely wrapped up in this catastrophic failure, where what she meant to do and what actually happened are polar opposites. Finally, let's look at the alien plasma bomb's pure logic. Its most primal drive, its core programming was simply to survive. But after observing everything, it comes to a chilling realization. Surviving here only preserves the insanity. It doesn't lead to anything better, it just makes the suffering last longer. Suddenly, its most basic, fundamental drive has become completely illogical.
So, what we've been talking about this whole time, it actually has a name. It's an existential crisis. It's that moment when an individual questions if their life has meaning, purpose, or value. You know that feeling of absurdity? That clash between our deep-seated need for meaning and a universe that just doesn't seem to offer any? That's it. It's when all the things that gave your life a purpose just fall apart, and you're left floating in a void.
So that brings us to the final section, the unanswered question, seeking purpose at the bottom of the abyss. I mean, where does all this leave them? You've got a hero, a warrior, a mage, a dream being, an alien AI. They couldn't be more different, and yet they've all ended up in the exact same place, all facing the same terrifying fundamental problem.
And really, it all comes down to this. Every single one of them is searching for a reason to exist in a reality that has made their core identities completely and utterly meaningless. They're all desperately looking for a new purpose, a new story, any reason to keep going, because their old one has been exposed as a lie or a failure or just impossible.
And leave it to the alien plasma bomb to just cut right to the darkest heart of this whole thing. It gets rid of all the romance and just asks the question with brutal computational honesty. Some situations are verily hopeless, though why bother surviving then, in vain? If things are truly hopeless, what's the logical point of continuing?
And that, right there, is the ultimate unanswered question they all face at the bottom of this abyss. If survival only preserves insanity, what is the point of surviving at all? When just existing feels like a trap, is survival a win, or is it just dragging out the agony? It's a heavy thought, and the abyss, well, it's not offering any easy answers.